Alright, about to start on my next mod project. It's going to be using basically an SKX007, and I'm making it into kind of a field watch version this time, and it's called the Firefly, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Well, I'll explain it now. The name comes from the G.I. Joe character. Well, it's actually from Cobra. His code name is Firefly, and he's one of my favorite characters, or at least the toys from back in the 80s. And he's I'll try to flash a picture here of the actual character, and I'm actually taking the more modern updated or reinterpretation of that character that was done by Seiko Collectibles. They do really cool 12-inch 1/6 scale, really detailed action figures. They're probably the best out there. And I think they're also known as, I don't know, I want to say they're sort of associated with Hot Toys, possibly. But anyways, I haven't flashed it. I'll flash a picture of it here. And so that's the look I was kind of going for. This kind of stealthy look. That's very dark black and grays. But there could be other colors, and I'll show you. But that's the general theme of the colorways. But I did not want to make it too stealthy, like so dark monochromatic, where it's like, it'd be kind of cool, admit that, like true stealthy, but in the same sense it would be kind of boring, because all you get is, blacks and grays, and everything's so subdued and stealthy that nothing really pops out. And I don't know, I don't want it to be that completely low-key, so there will be some little bits of accent colors and whatnot, some details in it that'll make it still look stealthy, yet has this nice kind of balance of just enough pop in it. And you'll see as I go along in the project. And let me show a mock-up of what I imagine it will look like here. And I should flash something there. And as you can see, it's mostly black. But you'll see that the crystal, hopefully if I show that picture, has got a red tint, and that'll be from this guy here. And as you look closely at the hands, at the tips of the hour, minute, and second hands, there'll be blue, red, and yellow. And that's not only just to put in that little bit of accent color, just enough of it, but it'll help differentiate the hands and make them stand out just a little bit more, so you can a little bit more easily read the hands against such a dark and stealthy looking dial overall. And with the field aesthetics, with the Arabic numerals and 24-hour scale, could look just a tad busy, so it'll just help it stand out. And I color coded blue, red, and yellow. I like those primary colors. Something about those recently has really been sticking out to me. And the hour be blue, and the minute will be yellow, and the seconds will be red. And why I chose those colors for those particular hands is because of their importance. Hour, probably the least important. It's just such a broad pointer. I mean, way of telling time by the hour. It's not that specific, so that's why it's blue. Next, probably in line, would be the minute, and looking at time by the minute is probably the next most critical and more precise measurement of time, next to the hour, obviously. So that was why it gets yellow. But what gets red is the seconds hand, because it's such a small scale of time, like 60 seconds in a minute. It's just more critical to see that pointer hand in red. It seems, red indicates something more critical in my book. So that's why I chose that. And you'll see some of the details, and maybe when you caught the glimpse of the mock-up, that's what it should look like, but we'll see once everything gets put together if it turns out that way. So I'm going to quickly go over the parts and explain what's going to happen. First, I guess I'm going to start with this. This is a movement that I got out of my other mod, the one I did for the Inverse Pepsi tuna mod, which basically took an Uncle Seiko tuna mod, aka the TST or the Tiger TST, basically a tuna mod for the SKX model. They custom milled the SKX case to accept a metal shroud that looks like the tuna, and it basically becomes an automatic tuna. But with an SKX base, you have lots of customizing options, and this movement and dial and hands was from that, but I have since replaced the original parts to that mod that I bought from, and sold it. But I put back the old 7S26 movement in there, and I decided to keep this just in case, which is a NH36A movement. And what that basically means is it has hacking and hand winding, I think roughly 38-40 hours of power reserve. It's a step up from the 7S26 that's typically found in the SKX models. And so, yeah, it's going to be a good movement. I've regulated this to a pretty good degree, so it's pretty accurate. I usually try to do it between +2 or no more than +4 seconds per day. Try to err on the side of gaining time rather than losing it, because it's easier to just hack, let the real time catch up to your time on your watch, which is, if it's running fast, you gotta pause it, let it slow down, and once it catches back up, let it go, and you can go on with your day and not have to fiddle with that for, I don't know, however long you think you can accept time being off the accuracy. For me, that usually means about 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds at most. I don't usually like to be more than 20 seconds off from the actual time. It's just me. I prefer to keep it within 20 seconds of deviation. Anyways, so what's going to happen with this is I'm going to pop off this modified Stargate 2 dial. It's only been modified by me removing the frame that was around the date window. I wasn't planning to, or wanted to, but I didn't think I could. But basically in the end, some things worked out where I did that. And even though you can kind of see where I took off the frame, it's just this decal or paint that just, sorry about the focus, that rubs off. And it does leave a little bit of something there, but in actuality, when you see it underneath the crystal in the watch, everything, that slight kind of, you see that thing on the surface doesn't really show up, because there's so much dynamic colors going on with this very radiant blue dial that the Stargate 2 has. It really, you would not see it as much as you might be picking it up on video. It's pretty low key actually, and yeah. Anyways, and I did that just so that it wouldn't distract from the dial here. And I did a mix of black and white date wheels. And this is so that overall, when you look at the dial, this is the only part that's light, so it kind of matches the shape and the scale of the NH6 going around, and that black Kanji day disc is black, so it just kind of fades into the darkness of the dial. Of course, I wish it was blue, but they don't really make those, and I'm not about to have it custom made, and this gives me the effect that I wanted for when I had it in the watch at the SKX tuna mod. And these are SKX hands, which I painted red tip because my watch has a slight red bit of accent on it, and that would have tied back into the dial. And I think it's a nice touch just to have that little red pointer that just perfectly overlaps where the lume begins on these indices. You can kind of make it out right now that how well it'll be, you know, where it overlaps the lume part of the indices. Anyways, all this is going out. I'm going to keep the movement. It's going to go into this mod. I will keep the black Kanji disc, but I'm going to go all black because the dial will be all black. So this date disc in here, let me put this away, will be replaced by don't misplace everything here. A black day disc, so it'll be all black. So that's that. So let's put that aside. And what else can I go? Oh, these are the new hands. Is there anything else in here? I don't think so. There is. I can't remember what will be under this glass. This case, well, let's pop it open. Take a look. These are from DLW, and you can mix and match hands and from different sets that they have. If the pre-set, you know, mix or style is not to your liking for either the minute, seconds, or hour hand, or any combination of those, you can just pick and choose what you like, and from their inventory of mix and the different colors. But I just decided to go with a black painted hands for the hours and minute, and these are their Field-Spec ones. It's kind of sword style. I think that would be kind of appropriate for a field watch aesthetic that I was going for. And this set was from their Mil-Spec handset, and it's also black. And these glow blue, these glow green-ish in color, very typical lume color. And what I'm going to do with these is to make them differentiate, I'm going to remove the lume and relume it in blue lume, like I've done in my other mods with this stuff here, and it works really well. About as good as, you know, standard Lume Bright, and that's pretty much industry standards, even better than a lot. So yeah, this $20 kit is nothing to sniff at or you know, gawk at or whatever. It actually works, and you can check out my video on how I compare that lume to the Lume Bright lume, and I think it was at least 5 hours of time lapse that I try to capture, and that stuff holds its own just as well as any Lume Bright, if not even slightly better actually. So that's what I'm going to use on this to give this blue hands. Let me see if I can show a lume shot of what it'll look like in the night, right about here. And as you can see, I'm going to go for contrasting kind of colors, blue hands and seconds with the green lume and the dial. I think that'll look nice. I like blue lume. I won't be able to really change it on the dial because of the way it's painted on there. It's not indices, and I'm not about to carefully repaint over or repaint the Arabic numerals on those. But this is the other thing I got from DLW, which is a signed crown. See, and it's let me see if I can get that better in focus somehow. It's a black PVD coated one, because the case will be actually black Cerakoted. I'll show that in a moment. I'm going to have that done actually first. I'll try to get that out of the way because it'll take a little bit of time to get back. But this look good, but I'm actually thinking of adding some lume paint into the S there. Just because it looks cool. Probably the blue lume as the hands. I just like the way blue lume looks, and against black, it really looks super cool. You know, that bright blue against the black. This just looks amazing. And so I've done it on my Night King mod. If you look at my past videos, you'll see how that loom looks on there. And it comes with a set of stems which need to be cut to fit, properly into the case, the depth of it, and this is for NH30. Well, anything, pretty much all the aftermarket movements: NH36, 35, 4Rs, 35, 36s, 6R movements, and some people say this is actually backward compatible, where you can actually use this with the 07S26 as well, but no one ever goes backwards once they get a 4R or some hacking hand winding movement into their SKX or whatever mod they're doing with Seikos. So anyways, so that's going to be that. So that's going to look pretty cool, and that's the case. And I already actually have one more set of pre-cut stems somewhere in my kit over there, which I will eventually dig up and use, as they're already pre-cut for SKX and the NH35 or 36A movements. So that's that. Next, this actually goes with this set here. We'll deal with that later. And I found this on chronograph.com. I know the website sounds a bit generic, but it's a site, I believe, in Singapore. And they actually sell authentic Seiko parts like this. This is so like when I get this circle, I'm gonna pop this out and put this away so I know what where the gasket went and what it actually goes to. I don't get it confused with the crystal gasket or something else. But I didn't want to buy a whole SKX and disassemble it just because all I needed was the case back in case. The rest of it is all going to be different. And I could have gotten a used one, but again, I would have a bunch of extra parts I don't need, and it does cost quite a bit more. And this is authentic, and it will work with any SKX part because it's real. You just happen to have extra ones that they disassembled and are selling parts. And this together, I think, cost about just a little over 100, which is fine, because normally even the least expensive SKX are going to spend 150 or up, maybe close to 200, because you're getting a whole watch basically. But I don't need all that because everything else I have. So, and it comes with the gasket there, which is for this case back. It's authentic. And I was glad I was able to score this because no one ever really sells these parts aftermarket online. Crystal Times has a version of this case. I'll take you out later, Misu. Hang on. And where they moved it to the 3, but I don't like that look. I always like the crown at the 4. And I was going to try and get like this Chinese, not call it a knockoff, but it's just a Chinese version of the SKX that's already been black PVD coated, and it's got the bracelet and everything, and upgraded movement and crystal. It's a pretty good deal for around $135 to get all that watch. That's already have most of what I need to get done externally, but nobody's been able to confirm the tolerances and the exact fitment of all those parts. Will they actually be compatible with real SKX parts or aftermarket ones? They could be slightly different, and I wasn't willing to take that chance that even if I got a great deal on that piece, I wouldn't be able to get the bezel that I wanted on here if it just doesn't fit right on the fake SKX case, fake replica, whatever you call it. Maybe the crown too, and the crystal particularly. These are very critical areas, so I just needed to make sure this part was authentic, as well as the case back, of course, and so that all those areas that will be where weather sealing and this great perfect fitment is necessary can happen. It's not worth taking the chance, so that's why I got this. And this will be probably Cerakote first. Whoops. We'll probably do, might as well get the back done too. And you know, I understand it. They can make the coating for the Cerakoting pretty thin, and it's still very durable. But such tight tolerance, especially near the bezel, that concerns me though. But people have done it before and it works, so I don't think you need a hell of a lot of modifications. What I'm going to do is, of course, mask off areas that shouldn't be Cerakoted, such as the threaded on the crown, what's it, column, tube. Of course, the case back around the gaskets, and all the internal should be all not touched. So I'm going to take some masking tape. Where is it? I have it somewhere back here, I think. It's the stuff I use for models. It's really good masking tape. It's from Tamiya. It's very, it sticks good, but it's not messy, and it's thin too, so it can really conform to a lot of tight areas that need to be masked. Everything else should be fine to get Cerakoted. I'm going to mask off the bezel up to a certain point around this edge, you know, so that'll be left silver, but once you put that bezel on top, you're not going to be able to see that. So mask this before I send it off to get black Cerakoted. And yeah, I think with that, I mean, I want to do it, at least hopefully my method and material I use will be sufficient, because I don't want to subject the person who's going to be doing the Cerakoting to do the fine masking detailing. I kind of, I don't know, he might be okay at it, but I might as well try it myself to make sure he understands what I need painted and what I don't need covered and Cerakoted. So that's there. What else we have? Here is the dial, which is from here's the part. And this will glow green, the numerals. At least the main one, not the 24. And this is from, and I was going to say SKX171, but it's not. I'm going to have to look through my notes. I totally spaced out. Forgot where this is from. It's one of the Seiko 5 field watch designs. It'll probably hit me later, but some of you might recognize this. And I thought this was one of the best ones to get. It's designed already to be in with the crown at the 4 o'clock, or technically 3:45 on the SKX. So I don't have to do any trimming of the feet, and then use dial dots or something to adhere it in place so it fits right onto the movement. Yeah, either this, or it was going to be maybe the SARG 015, or is it 17? It's looks kind of like an alpinist, but it's a little bit, just 1 or 2 millimeters larger. It's got a few aesthetic. They have a black dial version, and so that would have been cool, but I couldn't find it when I wanted to. And again, I think the crown is at 3, so I'd have to use dial dots and trim off the feet, and I didn't want to deal with that. The only thing I'm wondering is how I'm going to handle the Seiko 5. It's not bad to have it. I kind of generally prefer not to, and hopefully this thing won't die before I finish this video. I try to hammer through this. I really don't want to touch the face of this thing. My bare hands. But anyways, there are feet behind the emblem, 2 of them. So I'm gonna pop them off, and I could get rid of it, but I have to deal with those little tiny holes, and I think I have an idea what to do, but we'll get to that later. And got to hustle through this before the battery dies. More gasket parts, probably for the bezel, I believe. This is the SKX063 bezel. I had a 5.9, which is stainless steel with black numbers and markings. This is the black bezel version, which is on the SKX061, and the 063, which is very, very hard to find. It's all black. The 061 has a black bezel, black dial, but then the case is still silver. But I think this would be perfect for my field watch because it has dive time, and it's got the compass, which helps with the field aesthetics. And it's very low profile. That's what I love about this bezel. Expensive, but it's a quality piece. We've got Lume right in there, and it's friction based, and so no clicks, but it's bi-directional. And just like the other SKX059 bezel, I mean, all you need is just a gasket. There's no clicking piece, you know, that fits in between. And so it goes right on the SKX, because the SKX059, 063, 061s are basically based on the SKX model. What will happen is it'd be silent, but it has just enough friction. It never gets knocked out of place. I'm telling you, people are tripping when they think, oh, it's got to be unidirectional clicking, otherwise it's not a good dive time bezel. That's bullshit. You need to apply with 2 fingers, really intentional movement to make it move. Very slim to no chance that it'll bump by just against something, unless there's constant hard pressure on one side to really move it. And I think by the time you'd really know, and it's not likely to happen. Besides, I'm not really planning to go diving, but just saying. Plus, for a stealthy field watch, the fact that it does not click, it's completely silent, it's perfect. I'm just thinking you'd probably never give away your position in daytime or night if you needed to use the compass or time an event. I'm not going to really get into these too much. Well, I really don't want to see how much power do I have. 13. Alright, let's try to power through this. Here's the crystal. It's a pain in the butt to open, and I don't have my gloves on, so let's not do that. Basically, this is domed crystal sapphire from 1 Second Closer, and it's really cool. It has a ruby red AR coating on the inside, so it kind of looks like, if you're ever familiar with rifle scopes, they have this kind of ruby red kind of reflectant to it. And I always wonder, why didn't they make a crystal with that before? There was blue, there's purple, there's greens, right? And then how come they don't have red? That's like a really cool color. And shortly after I thought about this in my head, sort of maybe voiced it out in the groups, I discovered that, hey, somebody does make one. And actually, Crystal Times Horology, I believe, has a version of this as well. But I think the proportion on this might be better. And let's see if I can show you this. This will be the new chapter ring, but there's no chapter because the dial has all the markings. So I don't want to double on the little indices that usually are in the chapter rings of the SKXs. So I went with a plain one without the markings, indexes. But this one is aluminum or stainless steel. Either way, it's kind of hard to see in this lighting. But let me see if I can focus this. This is actually a brushed gunmetal, so I think that's pretty cool. I've never seen that too many. Usually you get either silver or some other solid color, but maybe even brass or gold color. But not too many people I know of have gunmetal, so I think that would be a great combination to put with this design. Just that little bit of grayish color that gunmetal has, and keeps with that stealthy theme, but yet there should be enough there should be enough metallic surface on there to just give it a little sheen and highlight. And so that you will see that it is actually a metal piece in there. And so that's pretty much the gist of all the parts. Let me put that in here. Dial, I'll stick back in here. Let's put this in. Make sure I don't lose any pieces. And for my strap options, I decided to go with a black canvas or Condura, and I have a black buckle to swap this out with. This was going to double use on another watch that was stainless steel silver, but I am selling that one. That's my other Night King Mark III mod. So if you're interested, it's about $750 that I'm selling it for. So message me if you're interested in that one. That one's really cool. Put a lot of work into that one, and it's been very well received. And I would keep it, but I would have my reasons for selling it. And I may eventually sell this one too, but I'll have some fun with it before I do. So anyway, there's that. And the other options I have are in black PVD hardware, a nice gray NATO. I think that would be pretty good against the case. And I got this a freebie from Nomon watches. Sometimes they give these with their watches, like free NATOs, and so this is one of them. But I didn't really have anything with black PVD at the time, so it didn't get much use. But now that I do, I can, and I think, of course, olive drab with black on probably, which will be a black watch, will be pretty cool. I would like to eventually get a black PVD bracelet option. I can get it probably from Watch Gecko or Strap Code if I want to spend a bit more, and I think that would be kind of nice too if I can get that together. So that's it. Next thing I'll try to show is me masking off the SKX case before getting it over to get it Cerakoted. And then while that's being done, I will start working on putting the dial and modifying the dial, and then eventually the hands, which will be modified too, and all that stuff that goes into the watch itself. I can work on the internals, and we'll go from there. All right, thanks, bye.